It's really scary over here. Gotta ask these niggas what's the deal. Got 20 models off a bill. It's a lot of
All right, welcome back to the Boiling Ice Show. This is season 6, The Understanding, episode 5. I'm here with my co-host, Shirley Casanova.
Hello, hello.
And I'm here with two special guests. One of them a veteran and one of them also both of them previous guests on the show. One is a rapper again, Mr. Lambo Brill.
Yes, sir.
And then we also have another former guest on the show, Mr. Cutty. How you doing?
Yo, what's going on?
So this episode is kind of to get, see where you guys are at. Obviously we talked to you before, Cutty, and you as well, Brill or Lambo. And you were actually the first guest on this show. This was before I was actually part of the show or even a guest on the show. Right now I'm actually running this. So I'll introduce myself again. My name is Diego Dollaz, or I like to call it freaking Florida Rican because that's just how crazy I am. And welcome back on the show. You were one of the first guests, like I said, Lambo. And Cutty, you've been a recurring guest here as well. So I want to know both you guys and everybody on the podcast, just to get a little refresher,
Just a little background.
There you go. And go ahead, talk, Lambo.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, tell everybody, what's been going on. I know you're a veteran. You're also a rapper as well.
Yep. Yeah. So to be back on the show. So I'm from Trenton, New Jersey. A rap or whatever. But like recently, or as of like 2 years ago, I just took a break, and I thought it wasn't gonna be a break at first. It was just gonna be, I was gonna be done with it. But something else came up, so stuff, and I actually got it's something that's gonna be dropping soon. Not too soon, but soon.
All right, cool.
So you're working on new stuff.
Yes.
All right. So again, you were the first guest, and it's interesting how we're at, what was it, season 1, episode 1, you were the first guest.
Yep.
And, it's interesting now that we're at like season 6 and things kind of got a little bit different.
Yep.
Give a little bit of background.
Mm-hmm.
So you were in the military. You said you were from obviously from New Jersey, as a lot of people like to call it Jersey, because when you're from north, all of a sudden everything seems a little different.
Has an
accent. Yeah. Nah. So about the first show. So Stu actually, he drove up. I'm not even sure where he drove from. I think it might have been Georgia. He actually drove to Texas, where I was at the time. I was in school. I was in school in the military for respiratory therapy or whatever, and he had drove up there to do the show. I'm like, damn, bro. Like at first, I'm like, all right, we could do the podcast. I thought it was gonna be like this, but bro drove up. I'm like, damn, he's serious about this. So I definitely had to go out and support him. I'm not in the military no more. I got out 2020, and I just been like figuring things out from there, and that's kind of where that break came from. It wasn't like I was struggling or anything, because I definitely wasn't. It was just more of like I wanted to chill, and the rapping thing wasn't going as planned. I thought I was supposed to be somewhere else, and I was like stagnant in the rapping career, so I just chilled on the rapping. But right now I'm just about to do it for fun now and see where it go.
I feel like when you do things for fun, you take the pressure off, and some of your best music, some of your best performances come out. So yeah, take the pressure off. Do it like if it was just a hobby, and shit, if that takes off, then more power to you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, thank you. I'm actually I don't know, y'all know who it's a rapping group they call Griselda. Are y'all familiar with them?
That
I'm not.
Yeah. No.
Oh yeah,
So
I know about
yeah,
him.
okay. So you familiar with? So one of the like they all lead rappers. So but one of them, he the youngest one in the group, or I think he the youngest one. We like the same or close in age or whatever. Me and him been talking back and forth. His name Benny the Butcher, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, we've been talking. He been wanting me to get him on one of his tracks, but I just like I haven't I haven't really like I've been shying away from that because I'm like, bro, how is you being on my track gonna help me out? I kind of gotta be on yours, but like, how do you say that to a famous person? Like, I mean, I could say it, but I'm not trying to cut no ties or nothing. I'm gonna just, I'm gonna holler at him again. But yeah, I've been talking to some people in the industry, but I ain't like I said, I just been chilling. So I'm gonna get back on my grind.
But I mean, I guess there's just like no way for you to tell somebody that wants to collab with you, like, what am I getting out of it? But as
Yeah.
reason to collab is to see how far they can push you into your career or how far you can push them. So I guess
Mhm.
the conversation is awkward, but it's one of those things that needs to be had because you ain't working for free.
Yeah, word. And he like, I mean the feature. Like he told me the price, how much it'd be for his feature, and I'm like, okay, I feel like don't get me wrong, it's gonna be dope to have him on the track because like he well known by everybody. But again, it's just gonna be for me, it's gonna be a waste of money. Like a couple people gonna hear, I don't have millions of followers. Couple people gonna hear, and that's just gonna be it. Like, oh, that was dope. But like I need to be if I was on his track, it's gonna be played worldwide for everybody. Then they hear me, they gonna want to know who I am, and then that's where I get my following from.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and
But
you look at that, and you look at, say, we'll give a recent example. Jack Harlow
Yeah.
on Little Nas X's track, and nobody knew about this guy, and then all of a sudden you just like you hear his track and you hear his verse on that song, and you're like,
It's fucking fire, and you're just like, who is this guy? And
Yeah.
shit.
yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
And I mean, that's how you got to look at it too. Like, usually you want to like, all right, let me do this, let me do a dope thing.
Yep.
Whether it blows up after that, that's on you, man. Because again, like Shirley kind of hit on it, and I'll ask, Cutty, I'll get your advice on it too. But you gotta do it for fun because when you do things for fun, it's a lot more.
The pressure's off, man.
natural, bro. This
So
shit more
Yeah.
natural, bro.
creative freedom.
Yeah.
And Cutty, how do you feel about that too? Is that kind of the same thing you're thinking?
Bro, I think you need to do it because, like, even though, even if you do it for him and you'll be a feature, like,
Mhm.
when people search his name, yours will come up as a feature. Like, people looking for songs, like,
Yeah.
and then people, like, oh, damn, who is this nigga on here? And
Yeah.
then it was like, okay, let me look him up because I fought with his verse on there. And, it's really like good promotion.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's always gonna be there. The song, well, as soon as it's on the internet, it's there. So your
Yep.
name gonna be out there with Benny the Bush.
Mhm.
And you'll have clicks immediately because you know what? Like Cuddy said, Shirley said, I say, literally when it says feature, you can type up Apple Music. All of a sudden you type up this guy, Benny Butcher stuff, and all of a sudden your song's gonna come up.
But I
Mhm.
Yeah.
apprehension is it worth the money that he has to pay when he feels like his following isn't as big as the other guys? But I feel like if they were to know that he was on like one of your songs, it would be
Yeah.
more like, oh, I need to hear what he has to say, but they also get to listen to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Well,
like a collecting thing.
Yeah.
that's the thing too. We worked together before, but it wasn't like on a song. Like I got an album. It's called July. It's on Apple Music, but it's also on Spotify. On Apple Music, it's just me rapping or whatever, and then on Spotify, I mean not Spotify. What is it called? Spinrilla. On Spinrilla is him hosting it, so like you can hear his voice like
Oh
on my
yeah.
album, like saying like, oh, this Lambo Brill, this and that. So he heard my songs. He even when he hit me up, he was like, yo, you can rap. Like we should do something together. So that's where everything is coming from.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to know the history a little bit about it, and how did you really get into it?
Into rapping,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I've been rapping since forever, bro. My mom, like, she's a big Jay-Z fan, so like growing up, that's all I heard was Hove, Hove, Hove. And then she brought me like this little karaoke machine, I guess. And she would just like play the Jay-Z tapes and let me just like rap over him rapping. So that's where it started. And then as I grew up, I met one of my closest friends. We actually got songs together too. Me and him and his uncle. They are on my second album, or first, however you want to call it, on Apple Music. It's called Brilliant 2. They both on there. They're my only two features. I met him in like the 6th grade, and him, and his uncle had a group. And then I went away, and I kind of like stopped. I was always writing, but I kind of stopped rapping. And then my boy was like, he's like, "Yo, you got to record this. You got to record this." Like, I always rap to him in Alaska when they sent me to Alaska. Um, he was like, "Yo, you got to record this." And he was like, "I know somebody with a or one of the other guys came like a couple months later, and he had a studio, and I had recorded. I used to go over there and record at his studio, but I ain't like dude. He was always on some BS. I think he was hating. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to go over and record. Like, what is you doing?
Like, why am I waiting for you? Like,
Yeah, exactly. I got mad material, but I left. Like I told y'all, I left like a year and a half after being in Alaska. So that whole album ain't really get mastered. It's on SoundCloud, but it's not really mastered how I want it to be. Um,
I
and
was about
then after,
out recording like an igloo. I mean, you were in Alaska, so
yeah, of course, man. I had on the
he
ski
had
mask and everything.
like, let's do this. I can't even see I can see my breath right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. You can see the words you saying going into the mic. Like,
But definitely, I mean, and that's a good. I mean, we'll talk about, because you did talk about that you took a break. So
yeah.
you know, what was the break?
Um, the break in 2020, until like, I mean, it's ongoing. Like, I'm still writing, and
Yeah.
I got everything laid out to make the tracks. I'm just waiting until I just started a new semester in the summer, so I'm waiting for that to end to just sit down, relax, and record it.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I took a break, bro. I felt like I was spending mad money on beats and engineering and everything, and I never did it for the money, but I felt like if I'm spending the money, like, I'm not getting the followers or following, or enough people aren't listening, and maybe it's just me, but like, that's just how I thought.
you just want to
And
listen. I mean, if you're putting it out there, you just want to be heard.
yeah, exactly,
Money on
exactly.
not gonna be fruitful for you.
Yeah. And then people would ask me, like, it's funny that I say like nobody was listening, or I insinuate that nobody was listening. But whenever I talk to people, they be like, "Oh, how your music?" or "How is this? How is that?" Or like, people ask me questions about it. So, that made me feel good. And then my answer always be, they'd be like, "So how you do this or how you do that?" I'm like, "Bro, listen to my music. Like, I don't anything you want to know about me is in my music.
Yeah.
Everything." So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those things that people will ask you because they kind of want to see,
They want to know your formula.
yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
And the biggest thing on that is, like, you look at it and you have to, sometimes it gets annoying and repetitive that you have to tell these people, hey, this is what it is, this is what it is. And
Yeah.
that's why I asked your influences. And obviously Jay-Z's a big one. I hate to say it, I'm a Nas fan, and I do.
Oh man. uh my influences, so Hove is definitely like, so it's categories, right? So Hove is definitely, he's just Hove, like, he's my favorite rapper of all time. And then my favorite artist is Kanye. Like, I think anything Kanye put out is
Like,
genius. It's
really nasty with his shit. So, like aside from all the crazy stuff that happens,
yeah,
that can happen to anybody, like, his shit is like the
I would
shit.
say
yeah,
the first couple albums off of Kanye
They were sick.
they were sick. I mean, College Dropout, I still
yeah.
have songs. He had he brought Lupe Fiasco to the mix.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and then I was like, that was my thing. Like, he brought Lupe Fiasco. He had, damn, Through the Wire was another good song.
Through the Wire was probably I heard.
I actually don't like Through the Wire. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that was one of the first songs I ever heard, and that's what got me into him because I had been influenced. Like, I'm a metalhead, so
Okay.
the hard rock and like classic rock and heavy metal and death metal and all that.
Uh-huh.
When I heard that, I was like, "Ooh, this hits."
Yeah.
And I mean, he was obviously, we all know that he's a very good producer on a lot of the music. Like, there's been many artists that enlisted his help for producing and all that, and obviously it's paid out. And like I said, is there any other other rappers or other artists that you felt that you kind of embody? Because I mean, we were listening to some of your songs. Me, I think what was it? What you're thinking about, I think, was the it kind of gave me the vibe that you had like a little bit of, I don't know, obviously he was around the same time as Nas and Jay-Z, but AZ it was kind of a song like that.
Yo, what's funny? All of I don't know how old you are, but like the older crowd always say that. Like, I'm not trying to call you old or nothing, but they always say that. They was like, yeah, it's like a AZ flow. And what's funny about that is I've never heard an AZ song in my life. I don't even know what he sounds like.
So believe it or not, like he came up, he was good friends with both Nas and Jay-Z, so he was never really into the beef.
Yeah.
But he's actually a Dominican and black rapper from Brooklyn. But I think he was like Brooklyn, or he's from Queens. Yeah. He knew everybody from Queens, and he's very good friends with he's close friends with Nas. So a lot of features sometimes on his tracks will be Nas and AZ, and usually and it's actually funny because the song reminds me of a song that he put out called "What's Your Day About," and it's basically kind of the same flow.
Wow.
Like, that was one of the songs I was like, okay, I can dig this. I dig this one because it has that AZ type of flow with that song.
Yeah.
And it has that, I like I said, I like the rappers like Nas, AZ. They tell a story, flowing at the same time. And that's the big thing. Like, I feel like sometimes that, I don't mind the club, the club hits. I like the story rap.
Songs that hit.
Yeah.
That you can relate to.
Like, I mean, yeah, Kanye's done well on that aspect. So has Jay-Z in certain aspects on that, where they can tell a story. You have Hard Knock Life, obviously. We can tell you right now that one was a banger, but it still told a story.
Yep.
I mean, you have as well. Like I said, Through the Wire. You had Jesus Walks. You had what was the one? It was Touch the Sky with Lupe Fiasco for Kanye West. Have that one. That one was it was kind of one of those bangers, but you had another. He brings in people. It's like,
it wasn't just that. It was just because there was just something behind it.
Yeah.
Like, I guess connected with his listeners, and it made people want to keep listening to him. And I feel like as an artist, the way from your audience is just that. Make sure that they want to keep listening to you every time you break some new shit out.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, you can, you have, we'll go into every type of, genre here. You have groups that, you've got rappers, and you've got groups that make 50 songs and 8 or 12 go on an album.
So I recently heard 10 of the most amazing songs on the fucking planet. And this is from one of my favorite bands. And every song was a fucking banger. Wow. Every song. 10 songs. And they were all fucking bangers.
And then it's like the unreleased track. Like I said, Linkin Park. Linkin Park. One of the
Park did after the Chester situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
2 hits that were absolute boppers. Like, that shit was raw as fuck.
So I mean, it's always a good thing. Like, I mean, I don't want to sound like a TED talk or anything like that, but Welcome to the TED Talk. How you should.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, and here's the here's the big thing about that. Like, I mean, that's how I see it. You got people like, you know, I'm also obviously my biggest one in hip hop. Besides, you know, like I'll say Rakim is one of the biggest, like, to me in hip hop. You got Rakim, LL Cool J. You've got oh yeah, LL Cool J. I hate to say it, as much as everybody hates his like his.
Everybody hates him because he went all mainstream and blah blah blah.
Yeah. LL was the man in his time.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I got nothing against him.
Rap, hip hop shit, like
I mean,
that was the shit.
I mean, you got that. Then you have who was I actually gonna get into? Because I said I was all these names, but
We're
it is
not
like
gonna debate into those other two that everybody.
I mean,
debate
yes,
over.
Tupac and Biggie.
Oh
but
God.
Who you a Pac fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
He is.
Oh my gosh, bro.
I'm a Biggie fan.
Dang, I'm a big fan, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna get into that because I don't want people to hate me, but I'm a big fan.
For that, but Biggie over Tupac. Boom.
Yeah, I gotta go with Big, man.
No, I can respect that. I mean, like I said, the only thing I say about Tupac is that, you know, he's got literally unreleased tracks that, you know, magically fucking keep appearing almost every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, okay, it's done. All of a sudden, we have more in the vault.
3 or 4 more that were in there.
It's him mentioning the PS5.
Somehow he's like, you got pictures of him. He's got a cigar. He's somewhere in Cuba, and he's playing PS5.
Saying that, like,
Yeah.
things and shit.
He's in Jamaica with like long hair, but he was bald most of his life. We don't know how that got it.
I mean, just because he shaved it off doesn't mean he was bald.
Yeah, you never. Yeah. I mean,
hair transplants are a thing.
there you go. But I mean, you've got those that, you know, I say just put out as much material as, you know, put out what you feel is right. And like we said, you know, we talked about earlier, I think the best way to do it and how you feel you should do it is do it as a hobby first, because that's the best time where you get the, you know, creativity.
Yeah.
But don't do it. Don't play music and don't write music because you think it's going to be what people want to hear. Write music that touches your soul.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like this is the aesthetic that I want to put out there, and fuck everybody else. If they want to hear it, they want to hear it. But when you get those real listeners that want to listen to the raw shit that you put out, those are your people. That's your tribe.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got people like Tech9. He's got a small follow. He's got a following, but he's got loyal listeners. You have
he's
lyrically, yeah. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got you know, he's not as mainstream as everybody knows. But everybody knows Tech9.
But everybody knows about him.
Yeah.
You want people to know who you are and the kind of stuff that you put out there.
I mean, we can go. I can even list guys from Jersey that would say that we can talk about. We can go to Redman. We can go freaking Joe Buttons. We can go further than that. You know, you've got so many Jersey rappers that you know.
Yeah.
And they have following. Like, I mean, I'm somewhat of a Joe Buttons fan, but I'm more like, I'll be honest. You cannot take away the fact of Redman.
No, you can.
Yeah. Nah.
And that, I think, honestly, like, you know, being from Jersey, you look at it and you're like, man, you've got a great lineage of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, it's good because I was like, he's telling me, oh, you're telling me from Trenton, Jersey. I'm like, I'm thinking in my mind, Brick City.
Yeah. Nah, that ain't Brick City.
I'm bad, but I'm like,
You're awful.
I know I'm horrible. Yeah, I'll just do the rest of the podcast. I'm gonna be in the corner somewhere. Saying something like, "You're Brick City" out of nowhere. Why do you keep saying Brick?
Why do you keep saying that?
But yeah, I mean, like I said, you were saying you were in school.
Yeah.
Are you still going to school for the same thing, for the respiratory therapist?
I'm going to school now for occupational therapy.
Okay.
Ooh, there you go. Then come to Florida after that, because especially in Miami, there's everybody getting in accidents.
But if you want job, let me know. Complete Care is always hiring new chiropractors. So.
Oh.
Go.
All right. Hey.
I mean, that's always a good thing too, because when you do things like I said, you're looking at it as a hobby. Obviously, the best thing to do is look at how to do things like you basically were like we were talking about earlier before this. We officially started the podcast. We're talking about living. Period. We still gotta do things, and it's actually it's a good thing because we when we heard that you were I was
respiratory therapist.
Thank you. we were kind of like we're in the same room recording.
He gonna do the breathing thing.
Yeah.
That breathing thing, I don't know how to breathe.
No, but now
Yeah.
that's really incredible.
Yeah. So I mean, it's actually it's a good thing because guess what? Then you can use that as okay, I've got everything stable. Let me pick up and do what I want. What I
you
feel
always
like.
Have a fallback.
Exactly. Yep.
Like you want to pursue these things, but you always have your career to fall back on.
Yep.
Because then at the end of the day, you could take wrapping up, and you do great. But the greatest thing is you got some people that they do things like they have multiple jobs.
But he to pay too.
Yep,
So it's
exactly.
like wow, he's doing his thing. He's making sure his bills are paid and that he can invest that money into his craft.
Yep.
Yep.
Because I mean, shoot, it's
expensive.
Yeah, everything's nowadays. I mean, we were just talking about San Francisco. We were talking about how much money. I mean, New York is not even. New York was ridiculous, and then you've got like extra taxes. You have what was it, a 5-cent tax for food or for I think it was cigarettes like that. Here's New York. It was like a 9.5.
Oh no, it's like stupid high.
Yeah, it's 9.5 for their state tax, and then I think at that time it was 9.5 when I remember it.
But their cigarette tax, I think it's like a 10 or 12%.
Yeah, which makes
I want to say that because in Puerto Rico it's at 11%, so a gallon of milk is like almost $10.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna buy a cow, and no, we're not gonna get
that's what I'm saying.
Buy a cow,
buy your chickens. Make sure your eggs got to the point where they were like $12 for like 18 of them.
Yeah, nobody brought them.
It was in fucking insane.
Yeah, that was crazy.
This is at the point where this is and that's why we're talking about real life things. It's like at the same time you now look at your focus, and you're like, all right, I've got I still want to do this. I still want to get this going. But you've got that job that you got, you're like, let me do something else as well, because sometimes like the industry doesn't help at all sometimes.
Exactly.
Bills. They ain't gonna pay your bills. If you ain't making you're not throwing yourself out in the mainstream. It's like you're gonna have the loyal followings, yes, but there are some times where you're like, this ain't paying my bills, man, and then
I love doing this, but it's just not bringing in the money that I need to progress.
And that's a conversation I've been having too, because I'm at the point, like when I was younger, I was like, oh yeah, I want to be in the limelight, but now I'm like, man, I will write for somebody, because like I don't want that. Like I like being home and not on the road and stuff and playing the game. Like I'll write for somebody, just give me the check in the end. Like that's it.
No, I get it. I completely get it. My stepsons are actually in a band, and I met them 3-4 years ago, and now it's finally starting to take off and tour. And my son actually handles their marketing and their merchandising and stuff like that. And I saw from where it's a metal band. It's hardcore.
Wow, that's cool.
I remember my stepson being in his room, writing songs, playing his guitar, which is he's a nasty, like the guitar playing is just nasty. And from where they started to where they are now, and the progression and all the things and battles that they had to do. And I mean, following is not huge just yet, but it took so much sweat, blood, and tears. And they didn't really have anything to fall back on. So they had to, work these little mediocre jobs at, what's it called? The little surfer stores.
Ron John's.
Not Ron John's, but like Zoomies and
like Pac Sun.
like Hot
Yeah,
Topic.
Pac Sun.
Yeah.
Pay for what they wanted, and it's just like I'm just saying, like have that fallback.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, smart because at the same time, let's we're talking about the writing and all that. You got to think about when we're talking about writing, we're talking you can talk about different rappers and singers. I mean, we can talk about who's the biggest one that back when we were younger. It was The Dream. He was a writer.
Oh yeah.
Neo
The
Was
Dream, Neo. Yeah.
friggin' gosh, there's a few more that came up around that time too. It was Dream, Neo, because those were the big ones that came up. I mean, obviously, I think Neo recently performed over here in SeaWorld.
God, I remember when Neo was a ghostwriter, dude, and then he came out with all those songs in 2005.
Yeah, all the love songs.
Didn't he ghostwrite for Alicia Keys?
I think it was Alicia Keys, if I remember correctly, and you correct me if you know too, Lambo. It was Alicia Keys, Rihanna, Beyonce, I think.
Yeah.
Beyonce,
Rihanna. Yeah, he actually has a song. Well, Rihanna has a song that's like it's the exact same song that Neo has. I forgot what the two is called.
Is it So Sick?
Is it?
Yeah. It's So Sick, and Rihanna got a song similar to that.
Wrote for her, and then he ended up performing.
There you go. So you guys got. So yeah, then it was So Sick, and then you have. I mean, I'll even go with a classic reference. The same thing. I know you don't like this, Shirley, but Prince. He used to do the same thing. He would actually
for Michael, right?
Prince, Prince used to actually, believe it or not, like a lot of the 80s music, like he actually got called Prince Unleashed. They right after he died, they had an album where it was all the covers, all the actual Prince. It was Prince songs, but it was like 80s tracks for other people. So he wrote, I think it was, I want to say it was Manic Monday or Jungle Love. One of the couple.
Jungle Love, because Manic Monday sounds like a whole nother band.
Yeah. I know it was Jungle Love, and there was like a couple of other songs that they were actually performed by other artists, but he literally sat there.
Full disclosure, listeners, if I am incorrect, please let me know in the comments.
Yeah, in the comments, let us know.
Because damn it.
Because I remember correctly, he actually, and you would hear the song, the regular song, but then you would hear his version because he's like, well, I want you to, this is how you should play the song. He would literally play the whole song and say, this is what I need for, this is how you should kind of do it, but that's on you. But this is the bare bones of the song. So, I mean, that would probably be the best thing to do. And that's easiest money, because guess what? Every you see that thing get paid, you're going to get a piece of that portion.
Yep. Every time.
So you can get a check and it'd be like, a couple $100, go off. Yep. Thank you.
I've actually heard, like, in the beginning, like, I think it was my second, it was like an EP, like my first EP I ever put out, like, by myself. I wrote it in like 2 days and I put it out, and it was dope. I liked it. That and a mix of like some other stuff I put out, I've heard like mainstream, well-known people use the exact same lyrics.
Ooh.
And I wrote it I put it out like a year before they even put theirs out. So it's no way I could have got that from them. I'm not gonna say no names, because the person is one person. He used like two of my lyrics like twice, or well, I mean, you already know it's twice. And then like I just hear over and over like the same method, like the same flow or the same lyrics that I use. I hear it over and over. I'm like, oh yeah, somebody's definitely listening to what I'm putting out. They just, I don't know, they just don't want to say it.
Of course not, because they automatically assume that, oh, this guy's just putting shit out there. It's not, it's not mainstream. No, nobody's gonna know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that old like 80s and 90s like trope kind of movies where like, oh, well, I did this or did that, and nobody's gonna know that I actually got it from somebody else.
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly what it is.
That's the biggest thing about, like, I mean, we just talked about this in the last episode with the Ed Sheeran case with Marvin Gaye, where they sued because, I mean, I had my opinions on it, but they were like, well, this certain beat and how it came in, this, that, whatever, is the exact same thing from Marvin Gaye's song to Ed Sheeran's, Ed Sheeran, how he came up with Thinking Out Loud.
Yeah.
Let's Get It On from Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
Subtle, but it didn't sound the same.
Yeah, that my thought.
Now, if you go back to that whole Vanilla Ice issue that everybody knows about, that shit's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're dating ourselves on how long we're how
God world.
We're in our late 30s, and we're like, so it's like, damn, we're talking about so many old things, but it's like,
fucking Vanilla Ice.
I know, but I mean, and it's one of the things, like, who do you, when you actually decide to come back, who do you see yourself working with? Who do you want? Actually, honestly, like, I mean, we could say, I could say, if I was in your saying, I want to work with, this person, this person, this person, this person. Who do you want to see yourself in aspects, working with when you decide to, bring this, bring it back up again?
Like actually mainstream person, or
whoever. Like, you could be mainstream. It could be like people, us old heads may know. It could be, produce. I want to work with, say, DJ Premier or something like that. I mean, yeah, I'm throwing that out there, but that ain't.
That's deep right there.
I know we're talking about the old school rap and all.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
that was actually pretty.
That was very cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to work. I definitely want to work with Kanye, Hove, Drake, and Cole. Like those four. Give me those four, and I'm good. I'm set for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, you get any of those guys on a track with you, you're pretty much You get royalties.
Yeah.
You get royalties.
You'll get royalties for the rest of your damn life.
I mean, J. Cole, I would definitely I would say him and Kendrick Lamar.
Oh my God, I love Kendrick Lamar.
That'd be another one. I would say Kendrick Lamar definitely, because he got Ray, got all them cats, and it's just. I mean, I can't even say, like, you look at the lyricism, you look at how he connects with his, how he connects with that flow, and it's just like. It brings the West Coast, and you got J. Cole. Like, I mean, I remember him basically harassing Jay-Z to get him to, to play the music and all that. And on that, now that he's outside of that, and he's got Dreamville, he's got, what was it? Damn, we were playing this. That was like our main thing in Afghanistan. What was that album that came out? Coaxum would punch me right now if he didn't fucking. I think because it had No Role Models. I'm trying to remember the damn song.
Forest Hill Drive.
Yes, that one. That one was like the main. Like when he came out with that one, you're like, J. Cole.
What? Yeah, when he came out with that album, he was saying, okay, I'm here. Like, I'm definitely here now. That album was crazy.
And believe it or not, how many albums was that though? If you think about it, it was what, 2 or 3 albums after he came out officially. Like that was the album that everybody was like, J. Cole.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, Kanye came out. Kanye was on tracks. Hove, obviously, same thing. They all came out. Some of them, it took them a while. Like you said, J. Cole, literally, album number 3, said boom. All of a sudden,
that's because it had to hit mainstream.
Yeah.
Just because it waited album 3 doesn't mean his first 2 albums were not not the shit.
Yeah, his like.
Yeah, he was already signed to Rock Nation, like making his. I remember listening to his mixtapes, and they were fire. And I think at that time he was already signed to Rock Nation.
Yeah, because I remember that. It was like, it's funny how you think about it now. The hip hop is all about the mixtapes. Back when we were younger, it was mixtapes. Like you had 1,000.
Yeah.
50 Cent blew up because of mixtapes. Like,
oh man,
came out with. We're not even talking about him, but yet. That man blew up from mixtapes. I remember the best one I had to say was Power to the Dollar. That was right before he got, he blew up.
Yeah.
And around the time I think Jam Master Jay was actually supporting him and ended up getting murdered. We're not going to get into the whole, history on that one, but.
Yeah, let's leave it out there.
Bro, I don't even, you teaching me something.
Believe it or not. Jam Master Jay was actually one of the biggest backers of 50 Cent at that time. So,
wow. Yeah.
Way back when.
Yep. Is now I feel old. But so I mean, we got a lot about that. I mean, a little bit of what do you feel that you can, besides who you want to work with, how do you feel like you can improve
Or
on?
what do you want to do moving forward in
Yeah.
order to get to where you want to be?
As far as what? As far
As
as followings, as far as music wise.
Yeah, music wise, and everything else. Like,
music wise, follower wise.
Okay. So let me just try. I'm gonna answer it, but I'm gonna hope that I'm answering your question. So what I'm trying to do, or what I base my music off of, is like hope. Like that's the only thing I want to do, is give people hope when they hear me rap. That's why I make, like, that's why when I was first coming out, I had a bunch of songs that fit everybody else. Like, so, like, if you wanted to make a song like this, like, I'm showing you that I'm not this type of rapper, but I could make a song like this, so you can do the same if you want to rap or whatever you want to do in life. So I felt like with my previous, or my previous albums or mixtapes, um, I haven't done the best job with promoting hope, or even like giving people all of me. So that's what I'm working towards. And then as far as like the following and stuff, I guess or not, I guess I'm a definitely promote more, because like me taking a break from music, like I actually took a break from social media as well. Like I'll post stuff or whatever, but I'm not as heavy on social media as I was when I was deep in my music or whatever. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna come out with more merch and everything. So that's where I'm headed now. Like more stories. I noticed that people love when I rap, like when I do my lyrical rapping, and then they like when I tell stories, and they like, basically they like when I talk my shit. I made an album. I'm not an album. I made like a mixtape, like it's called Back to My Roots, and that's basically like me, like it's basically me rapping like I'm from the hood, like I am, but I don't like to portray that because I don't want the little
You don't,
kids growing up. Huh?
you don't want to be labeled as that. You just want to.
Exactly. Yeah. I want like if it's little kids that's listening to my music, I want them to do what they want to do. I don't want them to be from the hood. Like I don't want them to base their life off of them being from the hood. So I
yeah,
just made that because people from the hood were saying that I needed a mixtape like that. So I made one, and they liked it. So I
yeah,
make more of it. But the first thing is me, like, promoting hope and instilling hope in the people is what I'm going trying to do moving forward.
yeah, definitely. I think that's a good thing too, because at the end of the day, it's like we were just saying about the examples. You have guys that they listen to, record execs, or they listen to people and said, okay, this is what you should talk about. This, you could talk about that, you can talk about that.
Yeah.
But at the end
Hmm.
of the day, you had a mission, you had this look, and you look at it and you're like, this ain't how I'm feeling this, man. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
and you usually the best thing to do. I mean, yeah, you put that thing out, but you've got other, like I said, you've got rappers, you've got artists, other artists. I mean, that they have one thing they put out, but then they can put out another album. And people, some people don't gradually get to it and understand it, but
Hmm.
you can be like, this is what I really want to put out. Like, this
Yep.
is to put out. You have this group of songs where you're like, I try to be doing this, but this is what I feel. Because, like I said, you can have a whole genre of songs, or you can have a whole list of songs, like
Hmm.
all that stuff where you call the unreleased tracks and shit, where all of a sudden, you come out and say, okay, this is what I want y'all to know. This is what
Yep.
I got. This is how it is. This is what I want to portray. This is the message I want to bring in. Because at the
Hmm.
end of the day, you know, you're the one that's got to be content with the final product. It's not, yes, it's us that want to hear it and all that, but at the end of the day, your stamp of approval is like, all right, well, this is the music I want to put out.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
that's the biggest thing to do, is to make sure that you feel genuine, you feel that this is you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I feel that it could happen. I think you're looking at the right direction on it.
For sure.
Yeah. I think it's something that I need to do. I don't know why I feel like that, but I feel like it's something that I need to do. Because a lot of people don't like a lot of people when they from like um I don't want to say poverty, but like low income neighborhoods. There you go. When they from low income neighborhoods, they tend to like glorify what they did during their time there or whatever. But it's like, okay, you glorifying that, but why did you have to do that? Like, tell more of the story. And that's kind of like me. I'm kind of the in between that. I'm like, okay, I chose to do this because of that, and this is why that person has to do that because you know because of certain situations. So I feel like the story doesn't get all the way told because they don't look at people from those type of neighborhoods as like articulate or you know
No,
knowing how to use their words or whatever. So I feel like I'm that. I'll use my words for them like a coat. Like I'm kind of like a Cole kind of.
Yeah, I mean, and that, yeah, I get that too, and then like Shirley was saying, we kind of get that where a lot of people look at it and it should, they want this general formula that they hear, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's why, like, when you say you want to make songs of hope, and it's like if that's what you want to do, and guess what? Don't
Don't
conform.
second guess it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And don't alter your specific formula for what anybody else wants to.
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, like I told you, you're gonna be the one that says these are the tracks, this is my staple approval on this.
This is me, and this is
Yeah.
genuine. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I think this would be probably a good time. We'll kind of sign off on here.
Yep.
You have anything you want to put out? Anything like anything music? Again, I like to make sure you put out your music. You put out where they can find you at. Any of the
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
future projects you got going on.
Okay, so if anybody wants to search me on anything, you can look up Lambo Brill, LamboBrill. I got music on Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, all type of media streams or whatever. I got it on there. I got my own pan
Oh,
radio
sure.
station that I didn't even know about. So yeah, and then Brilliant 3 is coming. That's the next album. I said I wasn't gonna make it an album until I was famous, but I think I'm gonna have to do that. Brilliant 3 is the name of the next album I'm gonna be putting out.
And we're gonna say we're gonna ask you when we're gonna, when you let us know.
Yeah.
We'll bring you back on. We'll talk about it, and
Facts.
that's definitely again, I want you to pursue and do how you want to do it. As a hobby, and not feeling like it's the only thing.
pressure.
Yeah, the pressure and I
Mhm.
I think you can, as long as you put that in your mind and you do what you want, you're
Yeah.
gonna be.
Correct.
So again, I want to thank you, Lambo, for being on the podcast with us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank
Don't
y'all, man. I really appreciate y'all. Excuse me.
worry, I get stuck on my words too, so I feel how
Yeah,
it
you
is.
do.
But
Yeah. I'm getting choked up. It's like nah.
I know how. Yep. So again, thank you very much, brother. I hope everything goes well. Good luck in school as well. That's an awesome thing that you're doing. Occupational therapist is a big, that can help you quite well in your career
That's
as well.
a huge
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah. Thank you.